I'm SP from the GonnaGeek.com show, a weekly geek news podcast that is part of the GonnaGeek.com network. Just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other amazing geek shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Welcome back to the IntelleXual Podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson. Thank you once again for joining us. This is our annual Oscar Predictions episode. And joining me for today's episode are my usual co-hosts, Mark and Steve, who I haven't had together on the show with me in quite some time. And then joining us remotely are Allie, Lennox, who joined us from Chicago, and Ryan Casselman, who joined us from Los Angeles. This is the second year that Ryan has done the Oscars predictions with us, and the fourth year that we've done it with Allie. So it's wonderful to have them all back on the show. I had a little bit of audio recording issues on this episode, so I apologize for any audio that's a little bit out of the norm for our show. We are trying a bunch of new technology, different ways to bring people in remotely, and oddly enough, I think most of the issues we had on this episode were the three guys who were here local, myself and Mark and Steve. I think I was a bit too focused on the remote recording stuff, and unfortunately the internal recording stuff suffered because of it. However, there's lots of great content here. It's a fun episode with some wonderful film friends of mine who have great opinions about the movies that are up for awards at this year's Oscars. So I think you'll enjoy it. If you're looking for more incredible geek content to enjoy on your podcast listening schedule, make sure that you go check out GonnaGeek.com. That's the Gonna Geek Network, of which we are a proud member of. So go to GonnaGeek.com and catch all of the incredible podcasts there that will satisfy all of your geek needs. And now, the 2019 Oscar Predictions episode of the IntelleXual Podcast.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The IntelleXual Podcast starts now.
Let's get off and running. I thought we could start with general. We can either start off with general thoughts, overall snubs, or we can go straight into screenplay.
Whatever you want to do. I mean,
all right.
I think Mark has some snubs that he wanted to mention.
Mark, do you want to go? Do you want to go through?
I always have some snubs I want to mention.
Do you want to go through your snubs as we go through the categories, or do you want to just put them all up front? All right, let's do that. So then let's go ahead and start with original screenplay and then adapted screenplay. What are everyone's thoughts and predictions?
Well, for original screenplay, just out of these three, I would say my personal favorite would be Green Book, mainly because of the subject matter and also the story behind the story itself. So, I mean, it is basically it's an adapted screenplay. It's based on a true story that happened, and it's written partially by one of the people involved. So that's my pick for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it was written by the son of the Vigo's character.
Yes.
And Peter Farrelly. That's also my prediction and hope as well. Peter Farrelly directed it, and he got snubbed. But it's won a lot of awards, the Vanguard Award at Palm Springs, and amongst others, I think audience favorite or something like that at the TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. And it's a beautiful movie. Everyone should see it if they have not.
It's interesting that you said that part of the reason why you liked it is the story behind the story, because that's actually the reason why I was kind of sullied on it. I felt forget about the whole Viggo Mortensen part of it, but as far as the fact that I get that it was the son of Tony, the driver, Viggo Mortensen's character, who wrote the script. Yeah, but I feel like this should have been a story told from the point of view of Don Shirley, aka Mahershala Ali, and I'm kind of bugged by that fact. I feel like he's this character in 1962 he doesn't fit into either world. Plus, on top of that, a little bit of a spoiler, he's also gay. And I just think that would be such a much more interesting film story if it was taken from his point of view than from Tony's and on their friendship. So that was just my thought. So that's why I actually went with The Favorite, because I thought it was the most original story, the most kind of out of the box. And I thought it was a great film. So, yeah.
I have The Favorite as well. I know I have a feeling it's between Green Book and The Favorite, but
I agree.
I went with The Favorite based on just looking at previous winners. It looks like it seems to be in more in pattern with the quote unquote word original.
Right.
They usually do look at that word pretty closely. Movie, I think Her won a couple years ago, and so that's why I went with The Favorite as well.
Okay. How about you, Dave?
I'm sorry, I've been dealing with audio levels. I'm super loud again.
Oh, that's fine. You went with Green Book as well. So it looks like in our group, odds-on favorites, Green Book, with The Favorite being a close second. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to adapted screenplay. What did people go with for this?
I went with Black Klansman.
Yeah, me too.
It feels like, for the most part, I've learned that adapted screenplay usually, if there's a best picture in that adapted screenplay, it's a higher chance of winning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
With being A Star Is Born and Black Klansman, I think it's probably going to be Black Klansman. And just to see Spike Lee on stage, I think they're going to want to see that.
Yeah, I think it's Black Klansman's best shot to get one of the bigger awards. So, yeah. How about you boys?
I only saw A Star Is Born, so it's the only one that I can speak to with any sort of authority. And again, I love that movie, so that's my vote.
You didn't see Buster Scruggs?
I didn't see it until last night.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, I wasn't as enamored with it as I thought I might be.
Okay.
So, given that point, I went with The Ballad of Buster Scruggs because I liked it, and
because you and I never liked the same things.
No, never, and also it was the only film that I've seen out of all of the adapted screenplays listed there. So I feel that probably it's in a very tough field. I mean, all of these are look like they're well written and well crafted, but Ballad of Buster Scruggs is the only one that I saw, and I really, really enjoyed the writing in that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong; it's not that I disliked Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I enjoyed it.
No, you just
I enjoyed it
want to
plenty.
make me wrong,
but I didn't. I personally didn't think it was as enjoyable as A Star Is Born.
Could we all say what our favorite short of that movie was, though?
Oh,
the one that's the most Coen Brothers-esque, the first one.
I love the one where it's with the girl from The Big Sick, Zoe, whatever her name is. Sorry, I don't know her name.
Oh, yes. Kazan or...
Yes,
yeah,
I really like that one a lot.
Okay.
Was that the wagon train one?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, that would be my second favorite one. Yeah.
Like the last 5 minutes of that were as good as any Western I've seen recently.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed the more darker story of the gold miner.
That was a good one. That was
that was a great one. Tom Waits.
I thought it was just really, here's this guy. He's just, trudging away, and it's like, you're not taking my stuff.
That was good. I don't think it was dark.
The thing for Buster Scruggs for me was it felt like the Coen brothers experimenting with storytelling in manners that aren't normal for them. And so I enjoyed it a lot from that perspective. It was like watching directors like trying out new things, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, and Netflix is a good place to kind of play in that medium. So
yeah. I told somebody, I was like, if they were anybody else, you'd never see their shorts, but because it's them, you get to see them playing around and trying new things.
I just realized one of the reasons why I like the gold miner part of it. I watch Gold Rush on Discovery Channel.
Okay.
So, the way the guy just methodically kept looking for the gold, looking for what's like, nope, not here. Gonna dig another hole.
That's good.
So, I like that.
The darker one was the Liam Neeson one.
Yeah.
When he throws that guy in the river or whatever.
And real quick, just for fun, coming in from the BAFTA Awards, which are going on right now, Black Klansman won a Best Adapted Screenplay. So
there you go.
I wonder if that's going to be an interesting predictor for the Oscars.
Well, I mean, if BAFTA went for Black Klansman, which I don't think they gave much love to Black Klansman, that's a good sign.
I think so. Yeah. All right.
The BAFTA is usually a good indicator of what happens at the Oscars.
Not really.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
And actually, this year in general, I read an article about how all the different guilds are just kind of all over the place. So it's going to be hard for any of us to.
Yeah, it's felt like there's been no consistency.
There's been none.
Even
Yeah.
the Golden Globes themselves. I mean, we're talking about this is the Hollywood foreign press. It's not the voters of the Academy.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different dynamic as far as likes and dislikes.
Well,
What's the
and
closest one? The Critics' Choice, right? Isn't that the closest one that's usually pretty?
no, it depends on the
No.
category. So, the PGA tends to be the best indicator of Best Picture. SAG tends to be best indicator of actors, that kind of stuff. Critics' Choice is
One for-
up in the air. I don't know, but yeah. Well, anyways, let's keep going.
No, I put A Star Is Born too. I didn't see it, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's a stab in the dark.
Yeah. Well, so our one outlier is Steve with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. So good luck with that.
Thank you, Allie.
I figured let's do an easy one next. Best animated feature. What did people vote for with that one?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think
I voted for Myra. No, I'm just kidding. I voted for Spider-Man too.
I was going to say, okay, Mark, you're the only one who went with The Incredibles.
Yeah, the only one I saw was Isle of Dogs, and that should not win.
Oh, wow, I liked that. Really?
I liked it too.
I like Wes Anderson, but he's getting a little bit too cute for his own good.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't see Ralph Breaks the Internet. I'm sure it's good. Dave said very good things about Spider-Man. I've heard a lot of good things about Spider-Man, so I don't know.
I've gone back and watched Spider-Man 3 times.
Really?
It's so freaking good.
But I feel
Okay.
like everyone loves The Incredibles. Like,
Yeah.
that's what
I would have gone with The
Everybody loves
Incredibles.
The Incredibles, but here's the reason why I think Spider-Man is the best animated feature. They did a style of animation that we've never seen before.
Oh, really?
And they literally brought the comic book art form to 3 dimensions and to animated life. And it's incredible the effort and the artistry that went into doing that. And for me, it just blows me away. That movie's like nothing you've ever seen on screen before, and it's very cool.
And it's got the momentum, too. So,
Well, and it's also really well written and really well thought out, and
Is it still out?
I think it's still in some
I gotta
theaters.
use my AMCA list.
Yeah, it's still up.
Yeah.
That's a plug.
Just from the bunch, it clearly has the biggest chance of winning just because of there's no other film that has this kind of giant chance of winning right now.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, Ralph Breaks the Internet was fantastic. It was a wonderful sequel. Incredibles 2 is also a wonderful sequel, but in the end, both of them are sequels. So they're not terribly original in the
That's a
fact
fair
that
point.
they're repeating something that has been there before.
Did anyone see Mirai?
I didn't see Mirai and I didn't see Isle of Dogs, but
And I don't think Pixar has a good track record with sequels, except Toy Story 3, I think. I think that's pretty much one of the only ones that ever won.
That's a good point.
Sequel.
Yeah. All right, well, then let's jump to animated show. Oh, sorry.
Okay, then never mind my pick.
No, go for it. Sorry, I thought you picked Spider-Man also.
What's that?
Didn't you pick Spider-Man also?
No, I actually went with Isle of Dogs.
Wow.
It's not because I liked it.
Okay.
Let's make that clear right now.
You did go with Isle of Dogs.
I
Okay.
went with Isle of Dogs. I've seen the first 10 minutes of the film and shut it off.
Wow, really?
It was just too much Wes Anderson. I mean, that same dry.
So why'd you pick it?
Because Wes Anderson is the Academy's darling.
Yes.
That's true.
So
That's a good point.
That's what I believe that everybody is going to go for. They're not going to go for the great story of Spider-Man and the great animation, the great humor of Ralph Breaks the Internet and Incredibles 2. They're going to go with
I'll say
their
this.
darlings.
If Isle of Dog wins because of Wes Anderson, I'm done with the Oscars forever.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if Isle of Dogs wins. But again, you know, you could be right, but I don't think you're going to be right.
It does have that original score nomination too.
Oh, it does? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, there is a good song in it.
I didn't get to that part.
So
So.
yeah. Go to YouTube and look up Isle of Dogs song, and that's pretty much the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did any of you by any chance listen to the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Christmas album that they put out?
I didn't even know that there was one.
Oh my God, it's amazing. You got to go to YouTube and look it up because
Okay.
Chris Pine, all the different actors who played the different Spider-Mans like sing different Christmas Yuletides, and it's amazing.
Check it out.
That's
I
really
wanted to see it
cute.
with my nephew, but he didn't want to see it, so I got hosed on that deal.
Yeah.
All right, Allie, what's next?
Well, let's stick with the animated and go into best animated short. First of all, did anyone see any of the animated shorts other than Bao?
Bow.
Bao.
And Bao made me cry, so I voted for it regardless.
Yeah, same here.
Wait, how'd you guys see it?
It ran before Incredibles.
Oh.
Clearly, Mark did not vote for that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Everyone has that, right?
Pixar's shorts have always, hands down, been some of the best short narrative subjects.
Really?
Solid stories consistently. I mean, just absolutely brilliant.
What other studio do you know puts out regularly puts out discs of their shorts and actually like makes money on them?
Yeah.
It's just Pixar.
Yeah. Well, and what's exciting about Bao is that it's the first female animated film. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know there's a lot of the cultural aspects of it, but I think anyone has a parent that it isn't easy to let go, it can totally relate to this. And it also made me cry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also think with as simple as it sounds, with Crazy Rich Asian not being represented here,
Sure.
I can imagine that this would be their
An
their
animated
time.
short?
Yeah, no, I'm saying in the whole Oscars in general.
Okay.
Yeah, but this would be their time to be like, oh, we're going to reward Asian Americans, or
Yeah, good
all that
point.
stuff, so.
I think that's a fair assessment. All right, well, then moving right along, let's stick with our shorts and do best short live action. Did anyone see any of these?
Didn't see one. Never
No.
heard of any of them.
Well, so I didn't see any of them either. However, I did read up on them. And the two there's three that really stuck out, which was Fauve, Marguerite, and Skin.
I picked Skin. I just want to say
Same here.
Yeah,
Same here.
Skin too.
So the interesting thing about Skin is actually it's already been made into a feature film starring Kate Blanchett, and it came out like last year or something like that. So it's kind of interesting to see a short film version being out after a feature.
Yeah, that's weird. That's like the opposite of what everyone wants.
Right, yeah.
I made a feature because I want to make a short. Said no one.
No, they made a short that was later made into a feature.
Right, that's the normal formula.
So,
They made a feature first, then a short.
Really?
That's what she just
yeah,
said, right?
yeah.
Oh, way to follow on.
So Ryan and I we both picked Marguerite. Ryan, why'd you pick that one?
Well, it's really hard because I looked up all the previous winners, and I have a little stat if you want to hear it.
Oh, yeah.
You want to hear it?
Yes.
12 out of the last 16 times, it's been an English-speaking film.
Really?
But this film is not English-speaking. But I had to look deeply and read all about each one, and that just seemed the most uplifting and kind of fuzzy and heartwarming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I went with that. But I'm skeptical because it's not in English.
Interesting.
How does that sound?
Is it Spanish, French?
Yes.
Okay.
French Canadian, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I went with it just because basically they said that the main actress has this like amazing monologue showcase, and that just kind of intrigued me. So we'll see.
Skin looked really exciting.
Skin looked fun. Yeah.
And I don't know. It's really, I have to see all these films, and I probably still won't know after seeing them.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
These are all shots in the dark for us since we haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I picked Skin because I'm actually in a short that's called Skin, but it's not this Skin. It's another Skin.
So that's funny because I thought that I was a mutual friend of ours mentioned that too. And I was like, is this the same Skin? But it's not, huh? No.
Well, that Skin's getting a lot of festival awards, but no, it's not the same Skin. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Fellow What's the Vigors are in it too. Carl Backus.
Really?
And
You're gonna be. I think
Chandler was supposed to be, but she turned it down. Or
I
something.
think they're going to be doing
That's
a
correct.
sequel to that.
Really?
Scab.
No.
Sorry. Moving on.
Best documentary short. Let's finish these up. There were some really interesting ones as well. Didn't see them, but read up on them, and they're all fascinating. What do people vote for?
Honestly, I have no idea what to go for. I went with Black Sheep. Just reading briefly, like a sentence or two on each one. I just went with that one.
Okay.
I picked Black Sheep as well because I liked the 1996 movie with David Spade. And
Your reasoning is the worst.
It's about as good as my reasoning for picking
primaries.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your
Do
vote
I
for Trump.
vote for the person who's got experience or the bus driver that wants the job?
Ooh. Well, I just split the list and just went down in through the middle of it and just went with Lifeboat, just mainly because
It's in the middle?
it's in the middle.
I think my logic's better than that.
Well, yeah.
I picked Lifeboat just, because I like sailing, so it's a boat. It's close to...
Well, good. At least you know what it's about, Dave, which is Lifeboat's about Syrian refugees.
In other words, that's document too short, you're screwed.
Yeah. And Black Sheep is about racism in Britain. And basically the kid kind of changes himself to try to fit in with his bullies so that he can survive. So I think that's an interesting choice. I went with A Night at the Garden. It's all historical footage. It's the shortest one. It's only 7 minutes long. But basically it takes place in 1938 or 39, and it is a pro-America fascist rally right on the rise of Hitler coming into power in New York City. So I think it's very timely, and I think it's a really interesting 7-minute piece of film. So that being said,
hearing that about it now, it's probably going to win.
Yeah.
I think it's got a good shot, although I think Black Sheep is actually that and Period, End of Sentence, all three have a good shot.
Do you have any information about Period, End of Sentence?
Yeah, actually, that one I wanted to vote for just because it's the one I most likely want to see. It takes place in Delhi. Excuse my horrible pronunciation. And basically, it is about these enterprising women who want to. It's literally about menstruation and taking away the taboo of that, and they basically want to learn to make their own pads and distribute them so that young girls and women all over can have the necessary things that they need and to make it less taboo. So it's a very uplifting story, and yeah. So
I was gonna say the title is very redundant. It's the word period, a period, end of sentence, and another period. Would have been cool if it was just the symbol of a period.
Yeah, or just period.
All right.
So it's a period piece.
It is a period piece. Yes, nice.
Okay.
Best documentary. Let's take it to the best feature documentary.
This was a really hard one, actually, because I'm bouncing between two, and it's probably the same two that you might be bouncing between, Allie.
Yep,
It's Free Solo and RGB.
Yep, that's the one. Those are the two.
I really don't know what to go with at all. Free Solo looks better.
I've seen RGB, and
it's RBG.
Yeah.
RBG,
KGB.
KGB, Rocket Propelled Grenade, or KPG. RPG. No, RBG. I thought it was well done. And the subject matter is thrilling.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that subject matter is also right up Hollywood's alley.
Yeah.
I that's why I ended up voting for it, because I feel like the Academy is going to reward that kind of a film. That being said, I know Free Solo has gotten a lot of positive press, and it did just win BAFTA. So we'll see. I think it's between those two. I saw Dawson, you went with Minding the Gap. Did you actually see that?
No, I went with
so
I went with that entirely because I fell between a truck and a loading dock last year and broke my arm. So minding the gap is kind of important to me. So.
Your guys' reasoning.
It's really good. That would be my personal pick.
Yeah, I heard a lot. Well, what's it about?
These kids, skateboarder kids.
Oh,
and they just,
right.
Yeah, it's about family abuse too, like child abuse mostly, and how these kind of kids are kind of looking back at their childhood. So it follows actually these kids as they're growing up as skateboarders for about 10 years or so.
Oh, really?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool though. It's really, really good movie.
Do you think it could be a dark horse chance?
I don't know. I mean this in a weird way. I don't know. I don't think the Oscars really care about skateboarders.
Yeah,
That's just
fair
my
point.
feeling.
Yeah, that's true.
And RBG is just like David said. I think that's so recognizable and right up their alley. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I have it right now. But
that being said, for me, this was one that I felt was a snub, and I'm very upset that Won't You Be My Neighbor is not in this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
ridiculous that it's not even
I
there.
just started watching it last night.
Bunch of communists.
Yeah.
And I
Don't tell me you turned it
just
off.
realized now that it was that it could have been in that category and completely snubbed.
Yeah.
And I only watched half of it because I needed to go to sleep.
When did it come out?
In the summer.
It came out summer. Very close to when
the
RBG came out, not long after it. So it was.
Yeah, it was a trailer for RBG.
Yeah.
It is so jaw-droppingly beautiful.
It is.
It makes you laugh. It's nostalgic. It makes you, cheer up.
So-
And especially if you grew up
Yes.
in that same time when it started.
Exactly. Like I grew up in the 80s, so I remember him being an older man, never the younger man, but it was interesting seeing that. And it was very
I grew up watching him in the 90s. I mean, I think that's the thing that's amazing is that he spread this in these so many generations that all connected with him.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did read, though, that the director of Won't You Be My Neighbor has already won an Oscar. And I can't remember what it's for, but they think is apparently Oscar-wise, once you get an Oscar for a documentary, you don't get another one. So,
What?
Interesting.
yeah. But still, I think that's it should have at least gotten nominated.
Politics of Oscar.
Michael Moore has never got more than one?
no.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess he hasn't really made anything. After lately,
Yes, he has.
Has he Fahrenheit
No.
11.9?
Moving on, Allie.
Yes. Sorry, we're already 30 minutes in, so we got to keep on rolling.
Okay, good. Okay.
All right, so let's do best original score and original song. What did people go with here? For original score, let's start there.
All right, someone else go.
Having not seen any of them except Black Panther, I went with Black Panther.
Okay, a beautiful score. I agree. I didn't vote for it, but I agree. Mark, Steve, how about you guys?
I'm with Dave on this because I haven't seen I saw the first 10 minutes of Isle of
I can't
Dogs,
believe you voted for it.
and it just was like fingernails on a blackboard because it was Wes Anderson. But Black Panther, I thought, was a highly exciting and engaging score. So I went with that one.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I picked Isle of Dogs, but looking back, I was thinking of the one song, which is the song.
Right.
The score is actually very annoying.
Yeah.
So should I change my vote?
No.
All right. I'm sure I can't remember Black Panther, but I mean, I'm sure the score's cool. But I didn't see Mary Poppins, though.
Yeah, I mean, if I went with what I wanted, I would have picked Black Panther, but I went with what I read, which was Black Klansman. So I think it's an either or. Either one could be awarded this for sure.
I put If Beale Street Could Talk.
Oh, you did? Okay. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. It was beautiful.
I want to see it so badly.
And the score was and that's the one I really hope will win. I do see Black Panther as a big chance of winning.
Yeah.
So I that would be my second, but If Beale Street Could Talk, the score is so pretty. I hope it wins.
I'd like to see that win. I don't think it got enough recognition overall. So good luck with that. How about original song? Did anyone not vote for Shallow?
No, everyone votes for Shallow, yeah.
I think everybody.
Shallow's great.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. That looks like although I gotta say, I think All the Stars from Black Panther would have been cool too, because I really like that. But
Well, here's the other thing about the Star is Born bit. Bradley Cooper didn't know how to play the guitar.
that's true.
He learned to play the guitar to do this movie, and he's fucking incredible.
Yeah, but
So good.
The Shallow is winning because of Gaga. Let's be honest.
Absolutely, but it is a duet,
True.
you know, and it's one that he helped write, and he plays the guitar in as well as sings in, and I'm so impressed by it. I mean, just aside from everything else, I'm impressed as hell with the effort that man put into his movie. In every aspect that he possibly could. It's incredible. And the snubs on Bradley Cooper this year they bum me out.
I heard that he's actually pretty embarrassed to do the duet with Lady Gaga on stage at the Oscars. So,
well, he did it on stage in Vegas with her.
That's right.
After they made the announcement and brought the freaking house down.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's do best sound editing. This is going to be an interesting one, I think. What do people go with?
Go first.
I put Black Panther just because I always think the superhero movies are the most complicated things to edit.
I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Me personally, I also went with Black Panther, but I'm kind of torn between First Man and A Quiet Place. Quiet Place, I mean, to do
both of those were very quiet movies.
Yes, and to be nominated, the irony of that, to be nominated for best sound editing for something that's very quiet. I mean, it takes a lot, because Dave and I had the same teacher who told us that sound is half the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that's
well, I think with A Quiet Place, the sound editing is what makes the film and how delicately balanced it is. I don't think it's going to get it, but I would have liked to have seen it rewarded for that, because I thought it was pretty amazing. I went with First Man personally. Mark, I see you went with Bohemian Rhapsody. What was your...
I think I was just zoning out and said, Bohemian Rhapsody sound. Oh, cool. But I think if I were to go again back in time, I'd go with A Quiet Place.
I think that's a dark horse. But just for fun, BAFTA, Bohemian Rhapsody did win. So you might have guessed right, Mark. You never know.
Yeah. I went with my gut.
Your gut's always right?
Yeah.
How about sound mixing?
I put Bohemian Rhapsody for that one.
Okay.
I put A Star is Born.
Oh, really?
Same here. I went Star is Born.
For me, it could have gone either way on those two.
Me too.
But I don't know. I just felt like Bohemian Rhapsody is the one that I felt more inclined to vote for on that one.
Did you see Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Did you see it, Steve?
Yes, I did.
And
I loved it. I thought it was great, but
I thought it was fun.
Yes, I thought it was really fun, and I think when we get to special effects, I think my big snub is the special effect of Rami Malek's teeth. Completely overlooked.
That's funny. I went weird and chose Black Panther, so we'll see. I have no real reason why, other than I thought it was a great overall sound mixing score. But since I think I went with it because I didn't give it for score. So, anyways,
should be Roma. That should win.
Really?
I watched it in theaters. It was amazing.
Oh,
sound was all over the place. It was great.
Okay.
Really detailed. It made the movie. It was really great.
Nice. All right. Well, then let's do best visual effects since we just finished up sound. This one I went with First Man. I know
so did I.
Avengers is kind of a leading the way, but I think First Man will get it, and I think that's because they got snubbed for so much else that they'll give it to him for this.
First Man's visual effects were very, very good, but I think I always on these ones I always lean towards like who did the most work and pulled off the highest quality at the same time, and I mean Infinity War is incredible. I can't believe the amount of visual effects work that was done in that film and how solid it is consistently throughout.
That's true. That's true. I mean, they go from space to land to everywhere in between.
Yeah. I mean, for me, a movie like that, because, you know, that's the type of film where to meet their deadline for release, they're working with 30, 40 visual effects houses all around the world to keep everything looking right and consistent and the same. Like, it just kind of blows my mind how they're even able to make movies like that. So but Infinity War for me was like I think the most work and for me just super consistent. So
sure. My only argument. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
My pick for that was also First Man. I was torn between Avengers, Infinity War, and First Man, mainly because it's exactly what Dave said. It was just chock full of so much special effects. But then again, it was a special effects movie.
Right.
And I gave it to my choice was First Man because even though I didn't see it, I know that consistently when you're using factual and a situation such as that to make it look seamless, to make it look like that it was actually there, that doesn't look like a special effect, that I find more compelling. And that's why I chose First Man.
Yeah, I think it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, but for me, none of the visual effects in First Man carried emotional weight. Like the work in Avengers Infinity War included creating a character like Thanos who has to be believable as a real entity and a real emotional being. And like when he's dragging Gamora and throwing her over the cliff, like you actually you call spoiler? We've been spoiling movies the whole episode. You actually feel emotion out of that character, and that's incredible for something that's fully animated, you know?
Well,
I just think the work is more complicated for something like Infinity War as opposed to something like First Man, which is rockets lifting off and, you know,
but I think what was interesting with First Man is I do feel like it was a different perspective than I'm used to seeing with those kinds of rocket films, where it did a really good job of making you feel like you were inside the rocket and actually going through what they were going through. But I could definitely see Avengers getting it. So, yeah.
Ready Player One was no slouch either, though. That was pretty impressive, I thought. But I put Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I had for Ready Player One, the reason why I didn't vote for it, though, is because it was kind of allowed to look like a video game.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that, sure.
There's one thing that First Man has in this category that the other movies don't have, and that's nominations in other categories.
Ooh.
Everything else is empty. That's all they have.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Talk about a snub.
And
because the others are, well, with the exception of Christopher Robin, the others are literally special effects films.
Yeah. And also, you know, the Academy does love, you know, stories based on true stories. So
and they love Ryan Gosling.
And I do want to just point out Christopher Robin was beautiful.
That's it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, BAFTA also just coming in now. Black Panther won.
Okay.
Oh, but you know what? It wasn't nominated for the Oscars. Interesting.
No.
Okay, so that gives us nothing.
Gives us nothing.
Well, I think the Oscars had to make a pick between Black Panther, Infinity War, and I think maybe they kind of looked around and went, well, we nominated Black Panther and all this other stuff. We should give Infinity War something
to avoid a split vote for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's move on to the visual categories. Not visual effects. Best production design. Before anybody gives their vote, Mark, you didn't vote on it. so who do you vote for best production design?
What would I put?
You didn't put anything. That's why I'm saying you have to vote.
I've only seen one of those movies.
Do you want to vote for that one?
Black Panther, I guess.
Okay, that's the one you're voting for.
That's not a bad guess.
It's not actually. That's what I went with.
I went with First Man.
Really?
I went with favorite.
Okay, so I read that it's really between Black Panther and The Favorite. But Steve, why'd you go with First Man?
Same reason why I went with it with visual effects.
Okay, all right, cool, fair enough. And Ryan, why'd you go with The Favorite?
With a fun fact, I have a fun fact if you want.
Yes, please.
So usually there's a good correlation between production design and costumes, actually, for this. So only 2 films since 2000 have won production design that weren't nominated in costume. And that was Avatar and Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, interesting.
So, but that's why Black Panther could win as well, because it is in costume.
Well, that's very interesting, because I was torn for both production design and costume between Black Panther and The Favorite, and
but also The Favorite has the most nominations, tied with Roma. So I just figured that's a good one to give it to.
Yeah,
they clearly like it.
No, that's good. And I don't. So. Yeah, I think it's its best chance of winning anything. Whereas I think Black Panther. Well, I don't know about Black Panther where it can. So we'll see. Okay, so then let's go to best costume design. I see, Mark, you went with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah, wait, why are you laughing at that?
No, I think it's a great choice.
It could happen.
Julia, I don't know why I went with it. I think because there was a lot of cool Western costumes.
Sure. Yeah, and it was a bunch of shorts, so it was, I think that's...
Buster, when he goes through the saloon there, he looks like a cool dude. I don't know.
I like how she can be happily agreeable with you, but also condescending.
What you went with?
Quite a talent.
Buster Scruggs.
Honestly, if you end up winning this thing, I'll be eating so much crow. So, I don't think I will be, but anyways. I think we had some split things between some people went with Black Panther and some went with The Favorite. So why did those vote for which?
I voted for The Favorite just because
you kept consistent.
I double dipped with the production design and costumes. I just realized, though, I didn't make one prediction for Black Panther, which kind of scares me.
Yeah.
That can't really go home empty-handed, so I really don't know what to do now.
I voted for Black Panther, and there's 2 reasons why.
Why?
All the talk about diversity in the Oscars right now. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a lot of kudos giving awards to Black Panther for stuff like costume design.
I completely agree.
Where they dipped deeply into African lore.
Yeah.
To create original pieces that are inspired by real African, outfits and everything. And so to me, there's just a tremendous amount of cultural work that went into creating those costumes that is incredibly cool.
Oh, absolutely. And it was
and something like The Favorite's like, hey, it's a white person period piece.
Totally. And to go off of with Black Panther, I think it was a combination of like the pageantry and, of their clothes as well as their armor type of stuff. So it really mixed varying
All
elements.
the costumes told stories about the cultures and stuff. It was so cool.
By that rationale, though, I think Crazy Rich Asians should be nominated. I mean,
I think Crazy Rich Asians should have been nominated for Best Production Design because I thought visually it was stunning. So,
speaking as the only Asian in the room,
yes,
I enjoyed that movie, but I didn't feel like it was crazy amazing enough in anything to really be nominated. So I'm not surprised to see it nominated.
Well, because you're only three.
It's a very good commercially successful film, and I love that it exists. But I don't think there's anything about it that really screamed out to me like, give me an Oscar.
It's a classic romantic comedy, but I thought it was very pretty.
It's a very solid, commercially viable movie, but nothing that I felt was like award worthy.
Yeah. Well,
but that's my take.
Mine, my pick for this was, I went with the same as
you did
as Mark. I went with
oh my god!
I was torn between Black Panther for the same reasons that Dave chose it, and Battle of Buster Scruggs. Because I was going back and forth, and I was looking at the rest of the field, and I'm thinking, Sandy Powell is nominated twice in this category for the favorite and Mary Poppins Returns, and the old adage is an honor being nominated, so she's been honored twice in here.
I didn't even think about that her votes could get split. Good point.
Right. I don't think their names are on the ballot though.
Oh, are they?
Black Panther, but I don't think their names are on the ballot.
Battle of Buster Scruggs, so it's.
That being said, interesting to point out with Sandy Powell, if she were to actually win, she'd be an EGOT winner.
Yeah, you know me.
How do you get costume design out of a Grammy?
I don't know. I just read that. I just read that she. That's a really great question. I have no idea. It said that she would be an EGOT. Maybe she also does. Maybe she writes music as well.
Okay.
Some people can, dip their hat in multiple categories.
Yes, this is true.
I try not to dip my hats in anything. It makes for a very wet head.
That's true.
I always drop mine somewhere, so my hat is everywhere.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Yes, we're the only two that are wearing one.
So let's go ahead and do our actors.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh no. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Real quick. Let's do best makeup and hairstyling. I apologize, and then we can move on to our actors.
And editing. We haven't done that, have we?
No.
We did editing. Nope. Oh, we didn't do editing. Oh, excuse me. All right, well, let's do makeup and hairstyling, and then we'll
now be gentle with Allie. She only leads the podcast once a year.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Wow, he just pulled it off too.
I know he did.
All at the same time. I got to learn from you guys.
I deserved it. Touche. All right, makeup and hair.
That's Vice.
Yeah. Did anyone not vote for Vice?
I didn't vote for Vice.
You went with Mary Queen of Scots. I can't believe it.
Yes, I did, because it was a period piece. And once again, Remy Malek's teeth was snubbed for this, for makeup and hairstyling.
But the way Christian Bale, he was like a spitting image of Dick Cheney. Like, it was,
really impressive.
That's true. It took me several years to get the same body that Christian Bale did for that film. So,
and also,
the podcast has moved into talking about Steve Schwartz's body. Time to move on.
Yes.
And lastly, Mary Queen of Scots. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. Awful movie. Very disappointed.
You did mention that earlier.
Oh, well, I just want to reiterate.
Well, it's not a really uplifting story.
No, it's not. But for two great actresses, I was bummed. All right, film editing. The most important one in here that I can't believe I looked over. What did you all go for?
I got Bohemian.
I got Bohemian.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I did too. I have no idea why. I think Vice is really good too.
Okay.
Yeah, Vice is really good editing.
Wow, I'm the only one that voted for. Everyone voted for Bohemian Rhapsody except I voted. I went with Black Klansman.
Wow.
I thought I thought the editing was maybe one of the best parts of the film. It was really just interestingly edited. And Vice, I thought the editing was too much. It
too heavy-handed.
It took me. I get what they were going for, but it kind of kept taking me out of the story. That being said, I think Bohemian Rhapsody is actually the front runner. So.
Yeah, I would say if you notice the editing in a film, then it shouldn't be nominated, because that's one of the things that Dave and we also took an editing course, and they said, and we were taught that if you notice the editing, you're not doing a good job. It's taking you out of the story. Exactly what you said.
Okay, all right, yeah, interesting. Let's see.
That being said, if you notice the editing, most likely you'll win, though.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Cinematography?
Oh, you want to go into that next? Okay, let's do it.
I don't know. What's next?
No.
I think we all have cinematography the same, right?
No. No. Well, let's go ahead. Let's do cinematography. We got a couple different ones here, so.
Roma.
Okay.
Here's the GP and the director. That's pretty rad. You don't see that too often.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do. Some you do.
But yeah, not a lot.
I went with Never Look Away mainly because it's Caleb Deschanel.
Okay.
And he's one of my favorite cinematographers.
Oh, okay.
I like Caleb Deschanel.
All right.
Never saw any of the movies that are on here, but I like Caleb Deschanel.
And then, and Dave, I'm guessing you went with A Star Is Born because that's the one you saw.
Well, I saw like half of Roma.
Okay.
Wow, just half.
Yeah, I got bored. Beautifully shot. Actually, that's probably the one thing on that movie that I enjoyed was the cinematography. But I also felt like a lot of the composition on it felt like film school required shooting shots. Yes,
I agree. It was very static, and I thought it was beautiful. I went with this one, which one I don't think it's going to win, but I want it to win. I went with Cold War. I thought the cinematography was gorgeous. It was beautiful, and I think it was better than Roma, and I think Roma's going to win everything else. So, I went with Cold War for that one.
Wow.
Yeah. So, lost a vote there. While we're at it, we should before we miss it, should we do best foreign language?
Yes. You know what though? Is it cheating if you can't be nominated for best foreign and best picture? Isn't that double dipping?
Well, they did that with Life is Beautiful.
Oh, did they? Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
I think Amore too, right?
What year did that win?
Did they win?
The movie called Amore.
It didn't win Best Picture, though. Sorry.
There's a movie called Amore a couple of years ago that also double dipped.
Yeah.
So interesting. I think you all picked Roma. So you just, I mean, did you pick it thinking that it will also win Best Picture, or did you pick it thinking it won't win Best Picture?
We picked it because it's nominated for Best Picture.
Buzz. Yeah. It's got so much buzz, and it's nominated for Best Picture. How can it not win the foreign one?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I guess part of me was just like, if it does win Best Picture, I don't actually think it should win Best Foreign Language. I think, another one should be recognized. And I thought Cold War and Shoplifters were both really great films. So,
what'd you pick?
I went with Cold War.
Oh my God, change it.
No. I mean, I'm sure Roma's going to win. But I thought why not? It has a, wow. I mean, it was really rare for a foreign language film other than Roma that got a Best Picture nom. For Cold War also got a Best Director nom. So I thought that was interesting, and I think it's got a shot. So.
Okay, well,
I saw Shoplifters too. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, so good. Tearjerker. But all right, so let's do our actors.
Yay!
Do we want to start?
Starting with supporting?
Yeah, let's start with supporting. Supporting actress.
Supporting actress.
Regina King.
I went with Amy Adams just because I love that woman. So
Same here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Second that.
All right, and I went with Regina King.
Yep.
Brian, you did too, and
Yeah.
Mark, you did too. All right.
I did. I didn't see the movie, but I like Regina King, and I have for years, and I think it's her time. Amy Adams played a bitch, so I'm not going to vote for her. No. Yeah, I haven't seen The Favorite, so I couldn't vote for any of those actresses. Now, I haven't seen Roma, but I don't know. Is this lady here, Marina Di Tavero? Is she an actual actress, or is she like a non-actress? They kind of threw her a good role.
No,
She's an actual actress.
she's unlike the Best Actress.
Okay.
I will say this: in a perfect world, I would have loved Rachel Weisz to get it. I thought her character in The Favorite was just amazingly manipulative and sharp. The reason I don't think Amy Adams is going to get it is because Regina King won the Globe, and then Regina King wasn't nominated for SAG, and Amy Adams still didn't win for SAG. It went to Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
So I think
that was it.
I think it's going to go to Regina, right?
If Amy Adams won that SAG, it would be a different game.
I agree.
But it seems like there's no one in the lead, really, and I think Regina King just probably is going to beat out everyone.
Yeah.
And the only reason she didn't win the other awards is simply because she wasn't nominated. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's all I got.
Best Supporting Actor. Did anyone? Oh no, someone did vote for someone other than. Yeah, Dave. You went with Sam Elliott.
yeah, what did everybody else go with?
Mahershala Ali. Yeah, just because he's won
I think
everything.
he won recently.
Yeah,
He won 2 years ago.
he did, but he's won all of the Guild stuff. So
And I chose Sam Elliott as much as anything because he's the legacy actor who's running out of opportunities.
Absolutely.
True.
Could happen.
although
He would have been my second.
I would love to.
And he was wonderful in
Yeah.
the movie.
I would love to see Richard E. Grant get recognition as well.
Nothing would make me happier
Right?
than that win right there. If that happened, I will be so happy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because he was. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see I didn't see that movie, but everything else I've seen of it is fabulous. So yeah. All right, best actress or best.
He's really good. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
he's such a great actor. He's really good in True Detective 3, season 3.
Oh, you mean Mahershala Ali?
Yeah, and I predict, I don't think you guys do an Emmy show, but I predict an Emmy win for him.
Oh, I could see it. I mean, I think
It's Team Dora.
I think the industry really likes him. So clearly,
He's a good actor.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I thought he was great in Green Book. I think he was the best part of that film. So, yeah. Actually, let's do best actor first. Because it's just this is a split. People voted between two people. So, who'd y'all vote for?
I think it's still an open race.
Which were the two that everybody split on?
Rami Malek and Christian Bale.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's still an open race, man. It could be anybody. It could be
Who
either.
do you think is going to be the big spoiler out of this? The absolute dark horse, I would think, would be Willem Dafoe.
I agree. But I don't think that we're going to have a dark horse on that one. But yeah, I think you're right, Ryan. I think it is still an open race. This one was one of the ones I kept going back and forth on. I originally was going to do Christian Bale, but I feel like because Bohemian Rhapsody is going to because I didn't vote for Bohemian Rhapsody on anything else because I thought it was going to get shut out elsewhere, that they're going to give it to Rami. And I think the industry really likes him. So
The industry does really like him. The industry also likes Christian Bale. It's not.
Okay, I have some breaking news.
yes.
But hold on a second. Let me say my thing about Christian Bale real quick.
Please,
And
go for it.
why I think the Academy might vote for him. He played one of the most evil figures in American politics. And to let him win means you put him on stage to make a direct comment about evil in politics at this point in time.
True.
Yeah, but that never happens.
Don't overlook that opportunity for the Oscars to vote for that very
but that
reason.
never happens.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay, what's your news, Ryan?
Do you have the news, Allie? Do you want to break it?
No, go for it. I just saw it, but go for it.
Okay. The BAFTA just went to Rami Malek for Bohemian.
Yep.
But it is a British movie.
It is a British movie.
Yeah, it is a British movie,
Yes.
so I wouldn't.
Well, and I also went with Rami Malek as well for Best Actor, mainly because it was the only one that I saw, and also that consistently really, really good renditions of a famous singer has also won, like Ray.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yes.
And actually, that's one of the only ones that the SAG didn't go compare.
Oh, he didn't get SAG? Who got SAG?
I think that was that year. It could have been Leo for Aviator, I think, or someone else. Okay. I don't remember, but it wasn't Jamie.
Yeah, I it's a tough one because both these films I think are divisive for their own reasons. So I agree. I think this surprisingly lead actor is usually cut and dry, but I think it could go either way. So we shall see.
What'd you put, Allie?
I decided that just the way the tide's going, I think Rami.
That's what I got right now, too.
Yeah. That being said, I thought Christian Bale was freaking phenomenal. Yeah. So, I think this is the beginning of Rami's career still, just as, I don't know. Anyways.
Those guys, I remember seeing him years ago on, the Pacific, the HBO World War II.
Oh, really?
Series. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's a weirdo. He played a weird character and he's got, those bug eyes. I'm like, oh, he's a character actor. And then I saw him kind of pop up in, I don't know, one of those Tom Hanks movies. And then
he was in Larry Crown. And he played the stoner. and this is such a huge departure from that. And then he shows up in Mr. Roma,
where he also plays kind of a weirdo. Yeah.
Character actor. And then, but I was all in favor of having Sacha Baron Cohen play Freddie Mercury. And that didn't work out because of creative differences. But when I saw it, I'm like, God damn, he deserves it.
Yes.
No, he's excellent in the role.
Right? You know what it could be, too?
I can't see Sacha Baron Cohen doing that role.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that version. I was saying, what could it be? It also could just be that people want to give an award to Freddie Mercury more than anything else.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like they're associating him, the performance, Freddie Mercury, and they don't want to give an award to Dick Cheney,
right? That's a good point.
Good point.
Well, certainly that would play into the BAFTAs.
Yeah. Well, I think between that and what you said, Steve, about giving it to vocals is a great point. So, all right.
Alex me a burger at that Golden Globes party.
Well, then, hey.
That must be it. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Amazing.
All right, Best Actress. Let's see. Did anyone not vote for Glenn Close? Oh, yes, Dave.
I didn't either.
You didn't either.
None of the boys in this room voted for Glenn Close.
Oh, okay. So it's just me and. Oh, okay. Interesting choices. All right. Well, so Mark, why did you go with Melissa McCarthy? Let's start there.
Okay. She's probably one of the top 3 best actresses of all time, maybe.
And she's probably out of that field has been nominated the most without a win.
So I'm like, all right, your time's up, lady.
Not where I was going with that.
I'm only kidding. She's really cool. I didn't see the I didn't see the favorite. Lady Gaga, I'm sure she gave a great performance, but at the end of the day,
I'm sorry.
So I went with Melissa McCarthy. I think it's time. We've seen her. She's been brilliant in comedies. This was more of a dramedy. She was very funny in this movie. But I think it's time that she gets. I'm glad she's nominated, and that'd be awesome if she.
I think she absolutely deserves the nomination. I don't think she'll win, but I think she deserves it, and I'm in no way, no condescension towards you on this one. Well, Brian, you saw the movie. You can attest to how great she is. I think it's harder to. I think comedic actors don't get their fair due.
She should have been double nominated for Happy Time Murders, personally.
Oh, really?
That one I actually saw.
That movie was horrible.
It's hilarious. I loved it.
Horribly hilarious.
Interesting.
What'd you go with, Allie?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, ladies first.
Oh, thanks. I went with Glenn Close, although I wish that I would like Olivia Colman to win, but I think Glenn Close will win.
Okay. I went with Lady Gaga mainly because, once again, the same reason for Rami Malek. Even though she's not an actress, she is a singer. I think they're going to award her for that. Olivia Colman, I loved her in Broadchurch, but she's new to it. I mean, I would think that would be the biggest dark horse in this field. Glenn Close, I hope that she finally breaks her streak and is the winner, but I did go with Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I wish the Academy didn't have this habit of not awarding actresses when they are in their great films, and instead giving it to them like Kate Winslet and the redhead. It's because I think
Julianne Moore.
I mean, they all deserved their Oscars in other movies, in my opinion, than the ones they actually got them for. But I feel like that's the way to go. That being said, I highly recommend you guys all see The Favorite if you haven't. I thought.
Oh, I definitely want to see
the women were amazing, and Olivia Colman plays just the buffoonery loved it. Anyways,
before we move on to anything else, let me recommend David Tennant just started a podcast.
I'm listening to it,
and his interview with Olivia Colman is one you don't want to miss.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
David
I've been listening to it. He such a great podcast to listen to.
Oh, okay, great.
Allie.
Yeah.
Olivia Colman just won BAFTA.
I saw that, but she's British,
Oh yeah,
so.
that's true. But I just thought that would make you happy.
Yeah, no, that does make me happy. That does make. I also saw Rachel Weisz won for Best Supporting Actress, so I'm satisfied because they're not going to win the Oscars.
Who's married to Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
All right, Dave, did you want to make a pitch for Lady Gaga since you voted for her, or are you ready to move on?
Well, I mean, it's the classic thing. She did something I didn't expect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't expect such a wonderfully nuanced and powerful performance from Lady Gaga. Because she's Lady Gaga, right?
Well, I certainly hope that she gets more roles because of this. I think that
absolutely. Yeah. And, Bradley Cooper apparently had to fight to get her the role.
Yes. And you know what? That's great on him for that. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's, we did Best Cinematography. All right. So let's go. We did make sure I didn't get anything. We only have Best Director and Best Picture left, right?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. Then let's,
we'll do that after the break.
Let's go with Best Director. What did we all do?
We all went with Roma. Did we not?
Is that right? No. Oh, no.
I went with Vice, Adam McKay, but I could see Alfonso winning it. Sure. I just went with Vice because Adam McKay, he did Anchorman, and now he's making these dramedies, these brilliant dramedies. So I kind of went with him. I think Peter Farrelly got hugely snubbed on this, so that's very disappointing. I think he deserves a nomination.
What was that for? Oh,
Best Director
for Green Book.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm again. I have judgment on Green Book. Yeah.
Hey, Peter Farrelly's a fellow Rhode Islander and kind of an acquaintance.
Oh, really? Listen, I thought it was a greent film.
Yeah, a restraining order doesn't make you a
Wow, now you're the great deflator.
Yeah, no. I watched the Super Bowl with him last week.
Oh, like were you in the same bar?
Yeah, so did I, and so did a million other people.
No, I went to his house.
Stop.
Did he know?
Yes, he invited me.
Oh,
that's cool. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
How do you get into these places?
I didn't sneak into this one. This one was an invite.
That is really what I want to know.
He did sneak into a SAG Awards, and we saw him. We hit it off. He's like, "What are you doing for the Super Bowl?" I'm like, "I don't know. Watch the pass." He's like, "Oh, here's my address. I'll see you next time."
Yeah, you didn't see. Okay. Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten that if you said LA.
Oh, so by sneaking into an awards party, that's got you the invitation. All right, well done. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it was cool. But he's from Rhode Island, so we have like mutual. Rhode Island's the size of San Diego County, so we have like mutual friends and all that stuff. But it was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you can't knock into anybody else you don't know in a state that small.
This is true.
All right, moving on.
All right, David, give me your pitch as to why Black Klansman should win.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I mean, you're not completely wrong, but I mean, I'd love to see it.
I don't know how else to say it. It's just like, with all the pressure on the Academy to do more in that way, I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
That said, a black guy has never won this category ever.
No.
Yeah.
And part of why I said it may be the year that it happens.
I want to see Spike Lee get it, but everybody has been making love to Alfonso Cuarón.
I want to see.
Crazy at it.
But he's won it before, right?
Yes,
I want to see Spike Lee get it for Do the Right Thing. It's another one of those.
Can we go back in time and fix that?
Did you realize, though, that for Do the Right Thing, he lost, and the movie that won that year is Driving Miss Daisy, about a black guy who's driving a white lady.
Yes.
And now this year, it's Green Book in the same category.
Exactly, Ryan.
It's like deja vu for him. Isn't that interesting?
History will
Yeah, exactly. That's makes me so angry.
It's pretty interesting.
No, that is interesting. Although I think it's going to go to Alfonso, and I liked it. I thought it was a lovely film, but I'd love it.
I would love to see it by Spike Lee. I would love to see that.
I'll try watching Roma again, but I was just bored.
I mean, I'd like it to go to, I'm not even going to try saying his name, The Favorite. I thought it was a great film.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yes, but I think Roma's going to get it. So, yeah.
Okay.
And Ryan, you went with that, and is that what you went with, Steve?
Yeah. You went with the DJ.
No, I went with Roma because of Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah.
Just because he's the darling of the Academy.
Yep, I agree. All right, well, we're down to our last one, and thank you guys. I'm excited because we went with Ryan's cool thing from last year. We went and we ranked the films, not just picking who we think will win, but we ranked the 1 through 8. So this is fun, and we're kind of very different on our choices. So let's start off with, who does everyone think is going to actually win Best Picture?
I have a feeling it's going to be Roma.
Okay, all right. So that's Roma for you, Steve. Roma for me. Yep. Dave, what about you? Okay.
Well, again, I only saw 3 of the 8 movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can only pick of the 3 that I watched. So, my favorite is Stars Born. But, knowing how the momentum is and the buzz that I'm hearing, I wouldn't be surprised for it to be Roma.
Well, I'm very curious to hear both Ryan and Mark's picks, because I think, I think they're both really interesting choices, and I think they both do have a shot. So, guys, tell us why you picked what you picked.
Mark, what'd you go with?
The Green Book.
The Green Book.
The Green Book.
I put a the in front of it. Not Facebook. The Green Book. I went with Green Book because I think it, to me, that's the best one in this category. I really like Bohemian Rhapsody, though.
Yeah.
And I really like Vice.
And Green Book.
I can see Roma possibly winning, but.
And Green Book did win the PGA award, which is a good sign for it.
Won a Golden Globe, too, for musical.
That's right. What? It's not a comedy.
The Golden Globes have got weird categories, and they put The Martian last year in comedy.
Yeah.
So in that category. So,
but like I said, I think they should go back to 5. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see The Favorite, but I don't know. I don't know why Black Panther's Best Picture. That's a Marvel movie, So.
And Brian, you had an interesting pick.
Yes, this is really hard, and I actually just saw the BAFTA, so I'm probably going to change this. But honestly, there's only one of these films that has all my favorite little stats. Uh-huh. Do you hear an echo or just me?
I hear a little echo.
Is that one of your favorite stats?
No, sorry.
Wow.
I went with Black Klansman.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going by the preferential ballot. I see that it's liked in almost every single guild coming to this point. I think it could be a number 2, a number 3 movie on everyone's ballot. So I don't know. That's what I have right now. And the reason why I don't have Roma is because it missed. What did it miss? It missed SAG Ensemble.
Yeah. Interestingly, Ryan, you and I both ranked Black Klansman at number 3, but both Mark and David gave it 8.
Okay, so it's last on
theirs. Yeah, and Steve was 6.
I'm not a Spike Lee fan.
Yeah, I'm not a Spike Lee fan either.
Good. So. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder too.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't vote against him just for that, but I put Black Klansman at 6 only because I had 30 seconds to write down this list.
Fair enough.
That's true. We were rushed.
And I was like, okay, Roma, and then, all right, what do I do with the rest of the world? So
that's fair. If I could pick, I wish the favorite would win. I think it's going to be Roma, and I think, interestingly, Ryan and I gave the favorite number 2. Dawson gave it number 4, and then Mark and Dave, you gave it second to last and last. So similar. I could see Green Book winning also, but I think Roma's going to get it.
Green Book's missing director, though.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, when was the last time Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
what was your question, Allie?
No, that was he answered my question, which was when was the last time?
I didn't hear the question. When
was the last time a Best Picture one where Best Director wasn't nominated, and it was Ben Affleck?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But this is really
also A Few Good Men got Best Picture, and the director was snubbed.
Oh, okay.
A Few Good Men, I don't think won Best Picture, though.
And also, by the way, if we go off of that, then A Star Is Born could because Bradley Cooper was snubbed, they could give it to A Star Is Born. I don't think they will, but that would be a big surprise for sure.
I honestly really think it's only between Roma, Black Klansman, and the favorite.
I think Green Book's in there over.
Green Book's in there, yeah.
Only because it's won so many Guild awards. But Ryan, give us our spoiler.
Oh, you can give it. You have it, right?
Yeah, but you go for it.
No, you go for it. Go for it.
Right. Roma did win Best Picture at the BAFTAs just now, so it does have
beating out the favorite movie.
Wait, what did it? Beating out
the British movie.
Yeah. So I think it's got the momentum. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep my vote with Roma. Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys?
Well, here's my closing thought. So this is the 4th year that we've done our Oscar predictions. And the thing that has been pretty clear to me listening to everybody talk for over an hour is none of us are super excited about any of these films this year.
Yeah.
I love a lot of them.
You love a lot of them, but the passion of the way we've talked about movies the last couple of years, it's just not the same.
I completely agree with you, Dave. Just comparing it to last year, there were so many films that I thought were just amazing, and I'm not super passionate about any.
La La Land. No.
No, not La La Land. No. Ugh, no, but
every for the last few years, there's always like 2 or 3 films where you just you're going to go to bat for them on every category, whether you believe it or not. And there's just not that kind of enthusiasm for any film this year. It's like all the discussion's really clinical. It's like, well, this one's a really good movie, and this is why, and this movie's probably going to win because of this. Like, none of us took a hard stand for any movie.
No, it's true. And do you think that's because of the output of films, or do you think it's because of the choices they went with? Like, for example, there's a bunch of films, independent films, that I was surprised didn't get any nominations. Ryan?
I think it's because I'm agreeable and I don't want to fight with my best friend.
Give us time.
You're a beautiful man, Ryan. Beautiful man. But no, I just because I've been thinking about it a little bit for a week, and I wanted to see how this conversation would go, and the conversation has mirrored very much my feeling. Is that I don't feel like I'm anywhere near as enthusiastic about any one film this year as I have been in past years. And certainly as a group of films, I'm just not as like invested in whether they win or not.
Yeah.
In a way that I have been in the past.
I mean, I'm pro Greenbrook, but that's for...
Well, there is no movie nominated named Green Book.
Oh, you heard that?
I think you have a fair
Greenbrook.
I think you
my father.
I think you got a fair shot with that, Mark. The way I like to look at it too, though, is looking back on years past. What's the of the best picture movies? What's the one movie that I really would want to see again? For me, last year it was Lady Bird, and I think of all of these, the only one that I really want to watch again is Black Panther.
Yeah.
Who won last year?
Shape of Water.
Last year was Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
A movie which I still have not seen.
Yeah, me neither.
But that's why I try not to put too much emotion into it, because you don't even remember after a few years who won or not. So it doesn't really matter.
Unless it's a really awesome.
Because you're such a robot, Ryan.
Sorry.
That's not true. I will forever be angry at the Academy for giving it to Crash over Brokeback Mountain. It's the greatest snub of all time.
Well, for me,
I've always been mad at the Academy for giving it to what was it?
Shakespeare in Love or Color Ryan.
Oh, that's a rough one.
No.
Moulin Rouge losing to Beautiful Mind. That bothered me.
My first heartbreak was
Color Purple being completely shut out, and Steven Spielberg not even being nominated for it. That one.
Oh, that was that's a brutal one.
That was 80s.
My first heartbreak was The Social Network.
Yes.
That was my first heartbreak. Like, oh, ouch.
Yeah.
And David Fincher not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it went to some guy named Tom Hooper, which we all love Tom Hooper movies now, don't we? We all look forward to them every year, don't we?
Totally. Very popular. Yeah. Interesting, though, with the Shakespeare in Love, knowing what we know now, the influence factor, and that's a huge part of it. You know, who's got the most sway? Yeah. So,
I got a quick question. What's the deal with the hosting situation? Is there really not a host?
There's no host.
There's no host.
There really is no host.
They sent you an email, Mark. You didn't get it?
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, guys, thank you all so much for another fantastic Oscar prediction episode.
Love doing this.
If y'all are amenable, because we've got this new remote recording system, I would love to have everybody back on after the Oscars.
Yeah.
And chat about it.
And we can see who wins our ballot.
Yeah.
Oddly enough,
I'll do mine.
No.
I'd like to have more time to rethink my answers.
I mean, if it's agreeable to Ryan and Dave, we could do a one more round of it and make that our final thing. I just think we should do a deadline that we all have to adhere to so that we all are on even playing field.
Well, I would say we can all make our last minute predictions up until the morning of the Oscars, but we have to give you our final stuff the morning of the Oscars. Yeah.
Ryan, you up for that?
I got to change it to Roma, so yeah.
Okay. All right. Then let's do that. Let's say by noon Pacific time, day of Oscars, you all have to email me your ballots.
2 weeks from today.
David, are you going to be in town?
Me. No, I will be in Florida.
Well, you can take a picture of it again.
During the Oscars, I believe.
Yeah. Print out your ballot and take it with you to Florida and fill it out the morning of.
Oh, no, I will.
Okay.
I will. And if you guys are interested in podcasting like right away that night after the Oscars are done, like I'd be down for doing that.
I'm oddly free that night.
I can do it. Wait, let me double check. Well, we can talk about this after.
I mean, it's a Sunday night, right? So,
yeah.
Just we can chat about it leading up to it, but either that night or maybe the following night. I'd like to do the recap as quickly after the Oscars.
I'm free, so yeah.
Or the day after.
Cool. I can do either day.
Okay, well, we will coordinate that, and we will return with the IntelleXual podcast for our Oscar recap the week following, for sure.
Awesome.
But hopefully within 24 hours of the end of the Oscars, we'll have an episode.
Thanks for organizing this, Dave.
Allie, thank you for joining us from Chicago.
Of course. Never miss it.
Stay warm.
I'll try.
Ryan, thank you for joining us from Los Angeles.
Thanks for having me.
Warm. Stay warm. It's cold here. Mark and Steve, thank you guys so much for driving up and coming in today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And to our audience, thank you all so much for once again joining us. Be sure to check out more episodes of the IntelleXual podcast on your favorite podcast player, or check us out at theintellectual.com. That's intellectual with an X, because, hey, why not? And until next time, I'm Dave Dawson, and we'll talk soon.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching IntelleXual Podcast with your ears.